If you're a lover of paranormal content, you've got the right video. The images you'll see next were gathered by several sources. Each one of them has assured that what's shown there is 100% real. However, we'll let you draw your own conclusions. If you're a sensitive person, we warn you that this video might hurt your susceptibilities, so we recommend a little bit of discretion. Now that you know, let's get deep into the adventure of discovering 5 videos that accidentally caught something paranormal. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5, Soul in Torment. Some people have taken extreme security measures within their homes. They think it's not enough to get an anti-theft alarm. They also need some kind of artifact that'll help them tell who gets inside the home. That's why they install security cameras in most of the bedrooms. Perhaps that's normal in several neighborhoods, but none of these people ever expected to find paranormal entities when they checked the recordings. The Smith family just wanted to protect their home from burglars. The neighborhood had suffered several attacks. In the hypothetical case that they were the next victim, they wanted to have recorded evidence so police could capture criminals faster, and they could collect money from the home's insurance. In fact, the images you see next were extracted from the security camera in the backyard. Here you can see a white sofa and a wall in the back, a plant next to it, and a small table in the other corner with a telephone. Everything is located as it should be, especially the camera. This one is focused directly on the huge crystal door. Apparently, nothing happens there. The recording goes on, and we may think it's a photograph, a static image. But after a few seconds, an entity from another world suddenly appears. A bodiless being goes through the door and vanishes as fast as it appeared. Neither has a human nor animal shape. It looks more like an air current going in through the door. But how could this be possible if the entrance is already closed? They first thought it was a mistake in the lens or a failure in the system. However, this doesn't explain how weird the life of their home had become. Their dog usually barked with no specific reason, and the baby woke up several times with bruises on his back. There were even occasions in which they felt someone was observing them through dinner. The family looked for an answer among their friends and acquaintances who were more experienced on paranormal topics. They even took several priests that spilt holy water in the home and prayed, but this wasn't very successful. Luckily, things weren't that serious, but they were afraid that everything was going to get worse. They were also afraid that someday they'll be forced to abandon that place that they call home. Number 4, Michael Jackson's Ghost. If you're a fan of Michael Jackson, you surely know all the rumors and conspiracy theories around his death. On the internet, you'll be able to find many videos that claim he's still alive, and others say his death was accidental. However, this time we'll talk about a video that might be old now, but was viral at the moment. After the singer's death in 2009, all the media assured that the Jackson family would bury the body at his home. They said they wanted to turn the ranch into a peregrination place for all of his fans. Something similar to what happened in Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley. However, all of this was fake because Michael's father, Joe Jackson, denied these assertions. A year later, CNN News made a visit to the Neverland Ranch. It was some kind of tribute to the King of Pop. The curious thing is that no one was talking about the documentary itself, but about the translucent image we could see on the walls. People were trying to get an explanation as they trusted the news channel. No one would believe that they were deceiving the public. If you want to know what we're talking about, pay close attention now. Michael's first appearance occurs at one side of the door. The reporter tells the cameraman with his hand where he should start filming. This man is headed to the hall entrance, and it seems he'll firmly walk through the door. Now watch carefully the face on the wood, allegedly created by the flash's brightness. Can you see its eye sockets, nose, and surprised mouth? Perhaps you think this is stupid and you argue that the human brain has the capability to relate any pattern to the shape of a human face. And we might accept your arguments. But what can you tell us about this? When the photographer keeps walking and recording the long hall, we see at the end how a shadow crosses the place by one side. The huge windows and the wooden floor cannot take the attention off the human figure going through the image. Even so, they notice what's happening, and in the middle of their shock, they turn around to the camera. But what do you think? Is that really Michael? And if it wasn't him, who might it be? Number 3, possession in the supermarket. Getting a little far from the blurry images that can be interpreted in different ways, we travel to a supermarket in Ohio that's apparently the scenario for a demonic possession. The images were captured by a security camera in 2011, and we're particularly concerned about what happens. This middle-aged man walks to the fridge to grab a beer, and due to what he's wearing, we could say his house is nearby because he's using a t-shirt, shorts, and sandals. No one would go far from home wearing this, unless they go to the beach. As we are on the other side of the screen, we didn't take long to discover what happened to this man. He's barely grabbing the beverage, and he's about to shut the fridge's door when he starts moving his head from side to side, one way to the other. He moves his body as if he was suffering from an epileptic fit. His left hand is firmly holding the door's handle, while his right hand is holding the drink. But the intensity of the attack makes him let go of everything. We're sure that this is a demonic possession because of the way he moves his fingers and the way in which he's fighting against the entity that's possessing him. He wants to stop, and he wants the demon to abandon him once and for all. He's pulling his shirt off as if he wants to get the demon out of his body, but his legs lose their strength and he falls to the floor. A girl who works at the store wants to help him, but the demon, with an intimidating look and rude gesture, tells her to leave, and of course, she won't have any doubt on obeying this order. The man tries to stand up. He pulls his hair and falls to the floor again. He's in dismay, and no one will help him this time. Everyone in the store is totally scared. However, there's no spirit inside him anymore. How do we know this? Because at the few seconds he falls on the floor, some papers that were right on the shelf suddenly fell to the floor without anyone touching them. What do you think? Is this just a setup show where everyone knew what was happening? Or was it a performance made up by this man just to call people's attention? Number 2, woman levitating. Annie Johnson had broken up with her partner. The breakup was a little violent, and her ex-boyfriend swore he would take revenge. Although at the beginning she was scared about that threat, as the weeks went by she stopped worrying about it. He moved to another city and she could change her phone number. However, she had no idea the things that a hurt man was capable of doing, because just after a while, she began to suffer some demonic attacks. Due to this, Annie suffered a panic crisis. Her heart started with no reason. She thought that someone was spying on her, and she was conscious that it wasn't John, but somehow she knew that he had something to do with it. She visited a fortune teller because she wanted some help. She didn't want to repeat any similar episode. This woman recommended that she buy a camcorder and put it focused on her bed before going to sleep. Indeed, Annie did this, and the device recorded something that might disturb many people. In fact, some people may catalog this video as a scene from the movie Paranormal Activity. We hope you never have to live an experience like this, no matter if you're asleep or awake. The recordings make it easy to figure out the kind of demon that was bothering her. They only knew it was a voodoo spell. The file we'll talk about next is part of the series of videos she documented the first night she turned the camera on. As you can see, the spirit was already on her sheets. The entity raised her belly up, and yet her arms and legs remained in the bed. At some point, they're hanging as she was dead. But little by little, this meditation effect made her fly about 1 meter high from the floor. Her body was holding on absolutely nothing, and even though she was only a few seconds in this state, we think it's chilling to think that paranormal entities have this kind of power. Luckily, this tormentous experience lasted just a little while. With the help of her spirit guides, Annie got to drive away the spirits that were getting her out of her mind. Number 1, demonic possession rituals. In the first spot of our countdown, we can find a blood ritual, a yearly sacrifice that is part of an African religion that has earned followers across Latin America. You're probably surprised by seeing how they make their ceremonies during daylight. They do it in the woods and in the presence of a lot of people. They feel proud of what they believe and they talk about it shamelessly. In fact, the image you're seeing were recorded in Maria Leonza's mountain, an important place for sorcery in Venezuela. People often sacrifice goats, pigeons, and hens during this ritual. They bathe with these animals' bloods, and they smoke different types of tobacco. They do this as they listen to music and they dance. The priests are very different from Christian priests. For example, the man in this video has no shirt on. He has a knife in his hands, and his body is full of the blood of an animal that has been sacrificed. There are also people around him. A woman is smoking as the other tries to decipher what he's saying. Perhaps you haven't noticed that a girl is lying at his feet with her eyes closed. If you're wondering what she's doing, she's waiting for one of the gods to get into her body and manifest. They don't consider these spirits to be evil. On the contrary, they are their guides and benefactors. If these people do what the spirits want, they'll have a prosperous and safe life. After a few prayers, the woman who was on her knees falls to the floor and she starts rolling in the middle of the candles. Her legs now have some visually uncomfortable angles and her arms are on her belly. She's rolling on the floor incessantly. When it seems that everything would end, the woman stands on her feet. She has a horrifying expression and we can't think of nothing but she's possessed by a demon. She rolled her eyes and she has an accelerated rate of breathing. She's the living image of a horror movie character. The public around her is very happy about it though. They're screaming as if this was some kind of triumph, but we instead are anguished. How would you feel being in their place? Hope you enjoyed the video, Top Fivers. If you haven't already, check out our other channel, Americano, to enjoy even more amazing list videos. There'll be a link in the description, so check it out as well.